Good morning. Craig Mack here, Liberty Bell Beekeeper. So we are on site today. First lift job of the season. We got some bees way up top here in Eve. Been here a long time. Homeowner here grew up in this house and he now lives here. He's a grown adult. And the bees have been here since he was a kid. So we're thinking something like 50 years the bees been in this house. They're coming in underneath of the fascia. There's a couple of entry points there that the bees have been using, and they're up in this top section. You might see some discoloration, some paint chipping and peeling, and that's about where the bees are at. So we're going to open up that eave and get the bees out. So fun today on the lift. Okay, we're up off the ground here and we can get a closer look as to what's happening. So we got multiple entrances here up underneath of this fascia. As you can see, we got long-term signs, bee poop all over the fascia here. We got bees coming in and out of this in multiple locations. And I believe that the bees are up in this space here. So I'm going to try to take this apart at the seams here, and probably have to make a cut in this somewhere to expose the underside of this eave and get into where the bees are at. They're not behind this fascia. Looks like they're crawling upwards and up into this eave. So I think I'm going to have to go back down and get a sawzall. I didn't bring a sawzall with me to cut some nails so we can make this as seamless an extraction as possible, and so this material can go back up. The material itself is probably in decent shape, although it's old. It's not exposed directly to weather, sun, rain, all that good stuff. So I want to be able to take this apart and put it back together. That's the key, and that's what I do and why I do what I do. And then we're going to have to do some repair work to some of this, because this here is a problem. We're going to be stuffing this with insulation and steel wool and all the good stuff to keep the bees from coming back. So we'll check back in once I open up. All right, so we are opened up here. We have some blocking, and I don't know if we got anything past this block. So we're going to start with this chamber first. And as it looks, it's all very dark old comb down here. There aren't any bees this far down until we get up into this area. And then we got plenty of bees here, but it's all very old comb, very dark. You can see quite a bit of comb on the bottom. So what happens with these long-term infestations is you get comb that falls over time. It ends up on the floor of the space that they're in. That's what all this is. This is the top side of that eave. There's a zombie bee that got chopped. So this comb falls to the ground, falls to the floor of the hive, and it just gets old and sits there. Sometimes they'll pilfer it, they'll use some of that wax in other places. Other times it just becomes kind of fossilized in a sense. So we can see that this is just a very, very old colony. Like I said, this has been here a long, long time. So behind that little piece of crown molding, we got lots of evidence of wax moths that were in here chewing up the wood in their cocoons. So far the bees are not actually too upset with me, although I'm standing directly in the path of the entrance. We got a lot of bees filling in behind me. So now I'm going to take this back down to the ground, take this material off of the boom so I have a little bit more space. I'm going to try to level out this basket because I'm on a severe tilt here and I don't like it. And then we'll get into vacuuming bees and starting down this way and working our way up into this colony and figure out what we got going on. So that's what we're looking at. All right, so we got everything cleared out, what I thought was everything, and this space is weird. Looking for my queen, and there she is. Nice blonde queen. Now we're gonna get her in the queen clip. That saves me a lot of trouble of trying to find out where she went. But we got her now. Sweet. So I just went inside to look. For more signs of life, because what I got going here is a ton of old comb and no brood. So we think that this is a new swarm this year that showed up. Again, this house has had a long history of infestation. You can see how old this comb is. This is all completely coated. All of this whole space is completely coated with propolis. I found a queen. So I don't think there's another chamber. I blew some smoke and forced her out from behind this. I think it's like what I said, like they just haven't set up yet. And this was a new swarm. Because there's nothing but bees and they're all still right here. So good news. I'm still going to check and see to make sure there's no other comb. But I'm pretty sure that it was just them really having to do all the maintenance work on that old comb before they could really get started. So they were starting to put honey and nectar and pollen away, but they didn't start any brood yet. And if I go back through there, I might find it. But after I get a bunch of these bees out, I'm going to keep checking to make sure that there aren't still bees pouring out of somewhere. Oftentimes, if there's a second chamber, there will be. I'll vacuum all these bees up. I'll wait 2 minutes and there'll be just as many back there. So it's like they're coming from another place to take over this space again. But it seems like it's all pretty sealed. I don't see any evidence anywhere else. And although there's a little space behind this fascia, it's not enough to set up shop. Well, that was good. That was really nice that I found the queen. So that's what we got going on. So I'm going to keep vacuuming bees up here. Keep checking for other locations that they may or may not have gone. It doesn't look like it. It looks like they got this space pretty well sealed and they just hadn't gotten started with brood yet. So sweet.